program is part of the Scene Project's podcast network. The Scene Project features interviews with independent musicians, comedians, and artists from across the Midwest. Become part of our community and support local art wherever you are. Well, welcome into a very exciting episode of The Scene. I'm your host, Bubba Starts, and with me today is Tyler from Art of Aries Studio. Welcome to the show, Tyler.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Hey, it's a pleasure. We connected because I was looking for some top-notch video production in Iowa, and that's how I found you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the studio, and we'll pick it up from there.
Yeah, so the studio started as an idea back in 2019. And in 2019, at that time, I was just writing my own songs, recording songs. I have a band called Through the Darkness. We've had some pretty decent success from 2013 to 2019. And I started recording my own songs, and I was like, I could do this professionally. And so prior to 2019, for the last 3 or 4 years, I was going to Forte Studios, where I met Brett Bojack, who's my audio engineer. And I basically, when we were recording at Forte Studios, I was just kind of paying attention to what he was doing. I would say it was like a kind of like an internship, even though I was just watching him. I was just asking questions. I was very inversive with it. And I realized that, everything he's doing, I could do myself as well. So while learning how to do the audio production side of things, I just bought a few things for my my home studio, and I started from scratch there. And within that period of 2015 to 2019, we released, I think it was like 4 or 5 music videos, and we've gotten numbers past 2 million for streams and views. And I knew the guy that does our video production, and the studio just kind of fell into place because my ultimate goal was to skip all the mistakes I made while growing up, because when I started, I didn't have a mentor, and I want to help mentor young musicians and everything through the process of music production, video production, and like how to have a successful release of music. So when you have all of the things that you need, which is audio and video production, you can have a really successful song and reach hundreds of thousands of people like we did.
Take out recording studio, insert podcast. That is literally my story.
Awesome. That was really cool.
Yeah. So I was reiterating to you off camera a little bit here about, my story and how, a year ago, I probably had quit my job by now, but I was releasing music, songwriter myself, right? And did the media tour here in South Dakota. And it was over so fast that it gave me whiplash. Did the radio, did the TV news, and did a couple of podcasts. And one of them was in studio with my good friend, Dave Hawley. And I was like, hey, Dave, I have that. Hey, I have that too. And it was like, I have a podcast studio at home, don't I? He's like, yeah, you definitely do. And you have the personality to make this work. And then it was just digging in. I mean, I already knew 1,000 musicians or more. And it was like, okay, if this is what we're going to do, I was a big podcast fan already. I'm going to pull on this thread and figure it out. And through the summer, the band was playing a lot of shows still, and I was kind of busy playing my own music still. But in the meantime, and especially these last 6 months where we've just been digging into being content creators, we've, supporting our community has turned into a nomination for Content Creator of the Year with our Midwest Country Music Organization. And yeah, man, so I vibe with your story a lot.
That's awesome. It's amazing to hear.
Yeah, so do you still do the band as well, or is that kind of faded as the studio continues to pick up?
Yeah, so great question. The band thing is still technically like an online entity. I don't foresee us playing shows in the future unless we are lucky enough to get all members on board again, because everybody's a little bit older. I mean, we started back when, I was only like 19 or 18, 19. And it's been 15 years. A lot of them have families now, and we've always had full-time jobs, but sometimes managing full-time jobs, kids, extracurricular activities and everything is just a little too much for some people. So the band is technically releasing music still. We have an album coming out in October, which has been a long-awaited release, and that's because of people not technically finishing their parts. So I've had to just take it into my own hands and finish the parts for them, or pay somebody else to do it. So that's the online entity of Through the Darkness, and we're going to be releasing, technically it's a 3-part album. There's going to be a long form of it, a short form of it, and an instrumental form of it. And so it'll be a pretty big, I don't know, concept album. So yeah, we're releasing a song tomorrow, actually.
That's amazing. What great timing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and the reason that I had reached out to Art of Aries Studio and connected through TJ and, the Kilroy's bar scene, and I'm not very well versed in Iowa musicians or producers or any of that. So TJ kind of turned me on to a big list of names, and it seems like when she throws out the APB, people listen. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, somebody threw your name in the hat, and your vision for everything couldn't align more. So the reason I reached out is because we have a songwriter showcase. It's one of our podcast programs, but it's a live event. And for me, these showcases are so much more valuable to the artist if you have them filmed. Right? Like everyone is getting this footage that is there, and we're trying to figure out how it all pays for itself. So I'm not going bankrupt, kind of paying for everyone else's content, but trying to do the same thing to mentor musicians that, like, yes, going to open mics and doing showcases and things for small crowds and making fans one at a time is great. But how awesome if you could then repurpose that and have it recorded and then to show to the world over and over and over and over again. And I'm so glad that you said it and not me this time, so that I can steal this and go, listen to this smart guy with millions of views on YouTube and how content is done. This is the age we live in, and I just don't have the time to sell people on that idea, right? Like I can't get on the phone with every single artist and be like, this is why you need this and why this has value to you.
Exactly.
Let Tyler tell you.
Yeah, and just to reiterate it too, like the only reason we had a lot of success was due to our music videos. Like our video production, we won 4 awards with 3 different music videos. We take our work very seriously because we're passionate artists and professionals, and when it comes down to what you're talking about, try to get the bang for your buck as well as everything else, like those live sessions, like a recording of you performing your songs. I had that idea almost 2 years ago, and we did a bunch of live sessions. A few of them were, actually all of them were free, because I just wanted to prove that we could get quality audio, quality video all in one take. And so we had, I think it was 4 artists come in, and they did, it might have been 5 artists. It was 5 artists come in and do 3 or 4 songs. And so I think majority of those live sessions are all on our YouTube now. So, I mean, that stuff is big on, especially if you're just going to be a performing artist. You could just, hey, here's me performing my live songs, and this is what they sound like, And then when it comes down to music videos and just audio production, like if you want to invest in yourself, you want to have high quality like partners, right? And so that's the whole thing with. If you want to succeed, you can have a viral hit that isn't mixed perfectly, but the songwriting has to be really, really good. And I do believe with my history of many genres and my music history that I help people bring out the best product. And so whenever I try to get people to partner with me in all of this, it's always because I believe that I can get the best out of them. It's not like I'm better than you. It's like I'm going to push you and also help like educate you with the recording process while doing it, and understanding why I'm having you do multiple takes. And when it comes down to just quality audio video, that's what I care about. And also like artist integrity. I mean, it's all around. Like, I care for the product, and I want it to sound as best as possible, and I want people to invest in themselves, because in the long run it will pay off.
Are you a clone? Am I a clone? I have so many questions right now. Like you're just hitting on all of these things that, granted you had the idea before I did, but I wonder if in some way I didn't see, some of your stuff. And that's what kind of gave me this idea to run, because I've always done weeklies. Like I've been in the music industry for my entire life. I mean, I stepped on stage for the first time at 13 years old. That was 25 years ago, right? I have a quarter century into this thing, and I've always done these weeklies. I've always had an open mic or something going on. And I was actually on my way up to Minneapolis, St. Paul, and we played at the Midway Saloon up there. And I had organized them. My band played there on Saturday, and I was like, hey, do you guys mind if on Sunday I invite some of my other friends to come up here and play? And we're just going to do a little, Midwest CMO showcase. And literally I was driving up to the venue, right, on Friday, and I was like, I think we should film this. So I made some calls, and it all came together so seamlessly that it was like, well, yeah, it doesn't matter what the money is. Like, we need to show this to the world that, like, hey, this is what we're going to do now. Right. Yep. And my whole thing has just kind of been the value proposition to either artists or sponsors. I would like to give the artist the footage. Right. But exactly. I can't afford to do that right now when you're talking, $1,500 just to get someone to kind of show up and shoot it and give you a simple edit. And now you have 7 20-minute episodes. Like, I don't expect anyone else to give their time away. And I shouldn't. And also artists should expect to have to invest in their careers as well.
Yep. Absolutely.
So Tyler, I know you got new music coming out with the band. What's kind of next for the studio? I can already envision us working together on some other things. I don't know if March 9th is going to work out for us yet. I'm going to have to turn this episode around today, Tyler. Gosh darn it.
No worries. For the studio, so at the studio, not only do I do audio and video production, I teach piano and drums, and I do it in like a playing based format rather than reading, because I do believe, my dad taught me drums when I was like 4 years old. So I've been playing for, 28 years, I guess. 29. I'm a year older, I guess. And I was like a self-taught drummer up until I was in, the whole jazz band thing and everything. And so now I found my passion for teaching music, which helped me become a self-employed person, which helped me actually propel the studio into what it is today. So it's been a pretty busy almost 2 years of self-employment for myself. And with the next year, so this year we're going to be releasing music as the studio, and that's the exciting part for this album, is because it's going to be a really big production with a lot of huge sounds in it, and it's going to propel our audio, our discography at the studio, because there's going to be so many different songs of different genres, and they're going to be produced really well. Because whenever I can't handle something, I send it to my audio engineer, Brett Bojack, and he's out of Ankeny, Iowa, and he does a phenomenal job of the mixing and mastering and making sure that things are up to par with industry standards. And so that's the biggest thing for the studio. Is this year we're going to be releasing a lot of music that shows our professionalism, and then next year is when I'm going to be releasing my my teaching course, which is going to be for piano and actually just piano, where there's 4 levels of like an online course that you could purchase, or as well as just like, since I teach in person, like I just teach people the 4 levels throughout the year and all that. And so it's just a lot of audio production, and we have a music video that we did for a guy from Colorado that's coming out this year.
Well, I'm looking at your portfolio on my computer right now, and you got one of my favorite artists in the world, Mr. Jordan Beam.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him to do a music video. I keep telling, there's so many country artists and just artists in general that need to do music videos to help propel them to like that Nashville level,
Well, hey, brother, I think that we're going to make that happen. I'm obviously well connected in our music scene and in the Midwest CMO, of which Jordan was our new artist of the year last year. Yep. And that organization has completely changed my life. And maybe we'll get you in as a member of the org as well, and have you start helping some of these other people too, man. It's incredible what you're doing. You have not only do you have, a great skill set, but you have a servant's heart, and you're really trying to, I love the teaching. And that's really where I've come to, I'll be 39 in a few months now. And in my podcasting world, it's the same thing where I'm like, okay, if I can learn how to do this in a year, and 7 years ago I was in a prison cell, then literally anyone on the planet can learn how to do this stuff. So Let me go out, and I've seen how podcasts have healed me. Some of our other shows are a lot more in depth on just personal trauma and issues, addiction, and all that stuff, right? But it also can be a vessel for entertainment and just meeting new people and having interesting conversations. Like we did today. I know this wasn't on your agenda.
Yep.
Tyler, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you before I let you go?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, by the way. Right now, Art of Aries Studios is taking any video projects or audio projects. We have time for that. You can go to artofariesstudios.com. On Facebook, it's just facebook.com/artofariesstudios. If you're interested in listening to my passion project, Through the Darkness, it is throughthedarkness.band. To go to the homepage, and it has our whole story there. It has our whole discography that's, I think, recently been put out. I probably would have to update that website, but it's basically updated. And then we're on Spotify. Our entire discography is there, too. So, Through the Darkness Band and Art of Aries Studios. And I'm Tyler Gathercoal. And thanks for having me. So is your name Bubba?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for having me on this unexpected morning.
Tyler, thanks for being part of the scene.
Absolutely. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Thanks for tuning in to the Scene Projects Podcast Network. We appreciate you listening. You can find more at thesceneprojects.com. Join our community.
Got an ocean full of love that's made for two. We sail upon the ocean breeze and sunshine.